Hey everybody, this is Justin Kowalski from Batman on Film. We are here live in Beverly Hills, California, where we are attending the Batman Gotham by Gaslight world premiere, and it's going to be an exciting time. We are going to talk to a lot of the voice actors and the directors and writers of this project, so we cannot wait for you to see what we have in store for you. This is Justin with Batman on Film, and we are at the Batman Gotham by Gaslight world premiere here in Beverly Hills, California, and I am speaking with, well, just like Batman, he has appeared. How you doing, sir? This is Mr. Bruce Greenwood. How you doing?
I'm great, great. Glad to be here.
You are Batman again.
I am.
How is that?
It's so fun. It's so fun.
You're Batman in contemporary world, but now playing Batman in just a different era. How is that? Was there a different approach, or what was going through your brain?
Well, it was not. I can't tell you what was going through my brain. That's a very disturbed place, and you wouldn't want to see it, frankly.
Which makes you perfect for Batman, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of bipolarity there. One of the things that was really interesting was that there's more Bruce Wayne in this story than you might normally get. So you get to kind of look under his jacket and see what really makes the heart beat.
All right, so coming back to, so you've done, first off, Batman, like Red Hood, that was one of the ones, that was your first one that you did for Batman, right? Yeah. That was cool because you kind of had to get in there, and there's already been this really great legacy of Batman, but you get in there and now you're Batman. How does that feel?
Well, fortunately, I wasn't as familiar with Kevin Conway as I should have been. Because I think if I had been familiar with him, I just would have gone in and crashed, you know. Because his thing is so cool. It's just, and the more I've seen of what he does, the more I just dig how ironic and weird it is. But for me, I just approached it like an actor and just dove in, you know.
You got a good Batman voice. It's the smoother of the Batman voices. It's not very not like you have gravel in your throat, you know. You have a lot of you still have the mystery of Batman, but you can slip into Bruce very easy. It is when you're creating that, those character textures. How does that help you? I mean, are you trying to how am I going to differentiate myself? I mean, it's kind of an obvious question, but when doing Batman, there is a level you want to go to, right?
Yeah, there is, but I don't. This time particularly, I didn't want to go make such a huge difference. You know, I didn't want to dump down there, and I wanted to make the transition from Bruce into Batman just a little more elliptical, not quite so obvious. You know.
Can you tell us anything about maybe a future project come up after Batman Gotham by Gaslight that you might be working in where you're playing Batman? That might be Young Justice season 3.
Wow, you just kind of did it for me.
Awesome. So
I can't say anything but what he said.
Yeah, possibly, what everyone knows, but it's not talking about.
No, Young Justice. I'm hoping to do in the end of February.
How was it playing Commissioner Gordon?
Oh, it was fun. It was a dream come true. I grew up watching the original, well, trying to watch the original Batman series on television with Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just kind of thrilling and nostalgic and all wrapped into one to be a part of it. And it was just a couple hours one day a few years ago, and it turned into this sort of, Washington, D.C. and then Beverly Hills premiere. So it's kind of exciting, yeah.
The world of comics and DC Comics, is there anything that may have caught your interest? You're like, I'd love to do this again, or is there anything else out there that you would like to maybe voice another character, or maybe do Gordon again?
Yeah, no, I like Gordon. If he can come back from this wound, not to give anything away, but yeah, anything they want me to do, I feel like I'm kind of in the family now, and they're great people, and it's fun to work with them. So yeah, anything they want to offer, it'd be great.
Once you're Gordon, it's like once you're Gordon, you're in a special club. There's not many Gordons, and so is there something you're like, man, I really brought this to Commissioner Gordon?
Well, you hope to bring, because there's the two sides. I guess we can't talk about the other side, sure. So anyway, keeping that in mind, and I can't say anything. There's a certain dignity to it, and there's a certain, what's the steadfastness with the character? And it is, it's an historical fiction, so, it needs to have the credibility of the time. So there's a certain timbre to the voice, and there's a certain characterization that has to be consistent throughout. So, yeah, that's the challenge of the role. But yeah, I think they're going to be very, very pleasantly surprised at the quality of this film, because when I saw it in DC, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was blown away. It's like it plays like a big budget feature film, which it kind of is in the animated realm, but it was like, Jesus, that's really a fun film to be a part of, you know.
We got to talk to the writer Brian Augustin, and he actually loved the film.
That is so great to hear, and I've been so terrified. There's sometimes that you just don't want to face something, like maybe this is going to be, because the book is amazing, and it's one of the favorite Batman graphic novels. It's the first Elseworld. People love it. They love his story, and they love Mike Mignola's art, and so it felt a little bit like, well, should I change this? But our feeling was, in talking to Sam Liu and Bruce Timm, was that the fans, and mostly fans are going to pick this up, know the story, and it would be kind of disappointing to watch a mystery that you already know the answer to. Yeah. And the other thing is that the book is quite short, because it's, you know, it was an early Elseworlds, and it would have been, you know, like a 25-minute movie. Yeah. So we needed to bring in all the other Bat characters, not all of them, but a lot, and see what they would be like in Victorian Gotham.
What were some of the challenges as you bring in something that's so like revered? What were some of the maybe there were fears like kind of tied into it, or the biggest challenges of making, like maybe expanding upon? Because I feel like, is there a little bit of Master of the Future in there?
There is, because I like that stuff too. Those two books are so vastly different, but they're elements of the second one that you could pull in so easily. You know, I didn't necessarily want the robot pilot of the blimp, but the blimp, you know, is also kind of lays into the Batman the Animated Series blimps that start every episode. And so, although this is a piece that's totally separate from all other Batman, it also has little allusions to it, and a lot of the fans who've watched it on digital download have picked up on those already. Someone put a list of all the Easter eggs, and let me tell you, that's not all the Easter eggs.
Is that fun for you when people start finding the things that you guys plant? Is that like, are you kind of waiting like, oh, they haven't found that one yet? And are you going to reveal all those at some time in the future?
Oh, I don't think I should ever list them. You know, I really do wait it out. I want them to find every single one of them. And some have found some of the more obscure ones, but not all of them. And some have found ones that we didn't intend. Or, you know, it's such a big crew that maybe the board guys put it in, or Sam put it in, but I didn't know about it. And there are references in the dialogue to other Batman things, or even other genre material that they don't know. You know, in fact, Bruce Timm found out there's a Star Trek one that's dropped in there. There's your challenge. Where's the Star Trek drop in? That's just for you guys.
That's awesome. Is there anything else in like the DC universe that you'd want to tackle and work on coming up next, or is there anything that you're curious to tackle or do? Or
I have at least about a decade or maybe two before retirement. So yes, quite a few. And as we make those, they're going to be making more. Yeah. You know, so hopefully we'll be doing this for years to come, because this was super fun to do, and I hope to keep doing it.
You know, a friend of mine from high school tweeted or texted a list to me the other day of other Harvey Dents, and I was sort of overwhelmed because he and I are both comic book nerds from way back. So every time I get to play a character like this, I'm filled with fear and elation. Yeah, because it's a heavy load to bear, because we've loved these characters for so long. You want to bring something new to them without straying too far, because, you know, nerds love nothing more than to complain about the new version of something. No!
Not at all. That never happens. No toxicity.
I've never done that, ever.
You know, you're set in a certain era. Were there any challenges as you approached the role? Like, how am I going to go about this?
I tried not to look at it that way, because that's how I always psych myself out. When I get worried about that, I sort of bring what I'm going to do, make a couple decisions, bring what I'm going to do, and then work with the director. In this case, Wes Gleason was the voice director, and Bruce Timm always, you know, he's always, every one of these that I've worked on that Bruce has been involved in, which is pretty much all of them, he's always got a very strong and steady, you know, hand on the wheel of this ship. So working with Bruce and working with Wes, we were able to, you know, get what they wanted, sort of bring what I was going to bring, and then make sure they were getting what they needed, because it is very specific, this Victorian period. and they were always paying attention to the language to make sure things didn't sound too modern. You know, Jim Krieg's script is great. I saw him just over here. I know he can't hear me, so I'm going to say this with, you know, in total and utter sincerity. I think Jim's script is great, and it all sort of synthesized to this great movie, which I saw and is amazing.
Are you going to watch it again tonight, or are you?
I am. I've seen it. I saw it on the big screen in DC for DC and DC. And I'm gonna watch it again tonight because I love it.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Justin again with Batman on Film. Right now, we are at the Batman Gotham by Gaslight world premiere here in Beverly Hills, California. How's that? So right now, we're talking with Gray. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. Hi.
So she just gave us some real top secret information. If you haven't known, first I'm gonna hit the brakes on that. This is Wonder Woman, right? This is Catwoman. And who are you playing today?
I'm not playing Catwoman for the speaking part in this, but I am singing as Catwoman in this movie. And I'm Sister Leslie, who's an old nun who kind of talks a little bit like this. She's got an Irish accent. And I also play Jason, who's like a little thug kid in the street who's like robbing people and stuff.
Jason's robbing people?
Robbing people.
Are you dropping like real little secret nuggets here for us, or what?
Maybe. We'll have to see.
Now, Sister Leslie, that's obviously Leslie Tompkins. Are you familiar at all with Leslie Tompkins at all? You're like, who's that?
I had no idea that there was a real Leslie Tompkins in the world. Is she?
Well, Leslie Tompkins is like Bruce Wayne's surrogate mom in the comics. Like, she's kind of Alfred's lady love. Sometimes depends, you know, too much super nerdy conversation we're having right here. But
I hate disappointing people at Comic-Con because I know nothing about comic books, and some people lie, and they're like these girls that are, they didn't read comic books growing up, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan. It's like, no, you're not. But anyway, but I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea. So please educate me. But yeah, well, you know, in this movie, Sister Leslie takes Bruce Wayne into her orphanage, and she raises him like that. So she's part of his. She's a mother figure too.
What was your favorite part about playing this part?
Well, I've been a Catholic I mean, kind of. My dad used to bring me to Catholic church all the time. And then I converted to Catholicism, like, officially, to marry my husband. And so I know a lot of nuns. So I'm hoping they're proud. I'm hoping they're proud of what I did.
That's actually really funny.
Be very judgy, you know?
It's incredible to be a part of that franchise. And I was nervous to do it. I'm not going to lie.
It's a legacy. Again, tonight we've been kind of talking about it's been legacy to step into that role. Was there any you just kind of said, I was going to say, is there any trepidation stepping into those boots?
Well, I think I had a little bit of an advantage because they took her to the Victorian age. It was the inception, right? So I know that she becomes the cat burglar. I know all of these incredible places she goes to. So I felt like I had this the luxury of sort of starting the engines, you know, like maybe there's just a little bit of a purr in there sometimes, and maybe, you know, like just sort of getting underneath the mission of hers, whether it's, you know, fighting for women's rights, throwing her hand up to another hero and saying not that way, you know.
So the original graphic novel, Catwoman wasn't a part of that. Were you aware of that, or going in? So, but people have been really excited, like, wow, they put Catwoman, it makes so much sense. Did that excite you that, like, you're the only one to be able to be a part of this story in this format? Was that cool?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of comic books, so, but I was like, how is Selena Kyle Catwoman? So, like, I did some basic research, but anytime anyone tells me something like that, I just want to, you know, do the Wayne's World. I don't feel worthy. I'm not worthy. So, I don't know. Maybe that was a good thing that I didn't.
Are you ready to return as Catwoman, maybe? Do you think you'd come back as Catwoman again? They're like, let's do this?
Yes, any day of the week.
What about a modern interpretation of Catwoman? Like, present day, would you be, let's do this?
Yeah, yes.
We know people. We may have access to others. So everybody, let everybody know. She's looking. Jennifer's looking to get in that Catwoman situation. I'm talking to the nefarious Dr. Hugo Strange. How are you doing, sir?
I am quite well this evening. How are you?
I'm doing. I want a diagnosis is what I want.
Well, I can tell from the fact that you are wearing a hat that you are likely to be a very intelligent individual. You are not dependent upon the styles of your hair to communicate anything about your personality. It shows a streak of independence. I can tell from the fact that you wear spectacles that you read a great deal. And also from the shape of your head, there is a mild psychosis.
That was great. I've never been psychoanalyzed, and you probably nailed all of my great qualities and didn't find the secret hidden one. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. So you've been a part of the Batman world already. We were just kind of talking off camera a little bit. So you've done Penguin and two of the Batman films. So Hugo Strange, that's a way different character. How was that?
Well, probably in a lot of ways, Strange might be a little bit less of a stretch for me. I mean, as a...
I don't know. I feel like you nailed it.
Well, Penguin was a lot of fun, but Strange is sort of like I play a lot of like smart people, which if you know me is hilarious. I play a lot of smart people, so that sort of like intellectual, somebody who may be a little bit their curiosity may exceed their morality a little bit, kind of thing. Yeah.
Did you know about Gotham by Gaslight? Was there any like kind of fanboy like expectations that you were having? What was going through your mind when that happened?
Yeah, I was blown away. I mean, I was a huge fan of Gotham by Gaslight. It's one of my favorite iterations of the world because I feel like the darkness of Batman and the grittiness of steampunk kind of made for each other.
Gotham by Gaslight, how does that feel, tackling that project? This is a big one right here. This is the one people have been saying, they got to do Gotham by Gaslight. And here we are. Now, how are you feeling about that?
It's funny because a lot of times these are just like projects in a way. And the whole thing of like, there's things that like were really dear to me. And like this story was really stylistically impressionistic on me when I was in college. But a lot of times it's like, as far as like, how fans, like their anticipation of certain things, like some of them were kind of like, oh, I liked it or I didn't like, because we're just like fans, right? Like we have opinions just like all the other fans. And so sometimes we're like, oh, we like this one or we didn't like that one that much and blah, blah, blah. But in doing it stylistically, I didn't feel the pressure that you're referring to as far as like, people looking forward to it. But I just know it, for me as a fan of the comic, it was something that was my whole team, I think, was really excited about because it was just it's the same character, but it's almost like it's different now that he's been transported back in time, kind of a thing. And so even filmmaking wise, it was like, how do you make a movie that feels like an old film? Sure, there's going to be some modern tropes in it, but there's still that we were trying to sort of, I mean, there's a lot of things that are sort of like, obviously the Sherlock Holmes movies that like Guy Ritchie has done and like the whole like Penny Dreadful. Those are things that sort of like our modern takes on, a similar era type things. And so we looked at a lot of things like that also, but still stylistically and even like, how we cut or how we shoot things. We were looking at like that a lot more. And I think even to sort of boil it down even more, I think we almost treated this as if we were shooting like a horror film, and a detective horror film versus like our traditional sort of action adventure summer blockbuster film.
Batman works in literally every like genre. Like we just did Batman meets Scooby-Doo, and now we're doing Batman Gotham by Gaslight with like Jack the Ripper. Like, is there a genre where you feel like maybe Batman won't work, or is there maybe a place you want to tackle? You want to go with Batman?
Well, I think Batman's whole thing is about like solving mysteries and things like that. So if it won't work, it might be, I don't know, like a cooking show type thing maybe. I don't know.
No, we got to do Batman cooking show. Him and Alfred.
Okay. All right. I guess that could work. I guess Batman could do everything then.
That's what I'm saying. Like Batman can work in you can probably put him in any situation. I love the idea of a Batman cooking show, and there you go. Okay, we need to get hashtag Batman cooking show going. And
what have I started?
Would you be interested in doing like a Batman anthology, like maybe? I know it's hard because when you guys put these together, there's like budgets involved, and maybe you can't really tell the smaller stories. But maybe you did do a collection similar to like the Gotham Knights one that was, interested in doing something like that again, or just to be able to tell stories on a smaller scale.
I think a lot of it is it obviously depends on the story. I mean, even whether it's big or it's small, it's like, there's ones that I take. And I don't want to like name them per se, but it's like there's some of them I'm definitely more into than other ones. Some of them I just stylistically or content-wise I'm interested in. Like this one I was definitely interested in. And there's other ones that I'm just kind of like I don't get it, or like I think I get it, but it becomes more of a like let's experiment. Let's just see what this turns out to be. So I mean, if the story is strong and again like I think that's the thing that sort of gets any artist, right? Is just like, if are they interested or not. So if it's a strong story, I would definitely be interested in it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're excited for tonight, and we're excited for you. Congratulations.